Yes, it's true. After 4.5 years of microdosing, mushrooms, LSD, I'm going to be calling it quits. And I'm going to explain that right here. It's not exactly what it sounds like, so please stick with me. And then right after I explain this, I'm going to be answering some really good, kind of beginner level basic questions. I'm going to get back to basics as far as teaching you about microdosing, mushrooms, psilocybin, LSD, and all that goes along with it. So welcome here. I am Dr. Dave. This is Microdose U. I'm so glad to have you. And what I'm going to share with you is that, yes, I'm going to be quitting. And I think in the 4.5 years, it's the first time that I'm going to be doing this. But there is a caveat, there's an explanation. See, I'm going to Japan very, very shortly. As I'm recording this, I'm going to Japan within a couple days. And in Japan, psychedelics and the like are not only illegal, but if for some reason I were to get caught with something, even like a trace amount of something, I can end up in really, really serious trouble. I mean, I could get separated from my wife. They could detain me. They could, I don't know, fine me, put me in jail. I don't know. They could probably do a lot of bad things. They're very, very strict on plant medicines, even plant medicines that are considered safe and therapeutic. They're very, very strict on these things. So I thought long and hard. I was going to try to figure out ways to possibly bring some medicine in and use it if I needed for my regular microdosing journey. But after thinking about it for a long, long time, and I'm talking about months and months and months, I finally came to the conclusion that this could be a great time for me to totally take 1 month off without using any plant medicine whatsoever, except for my daily supplements, which are totally legal in Japan. And by the way, if you want to see what my daily supplements are, just go to the link in the show notes here, my Amazon store, and it shows exactly what I take on a daily basis as far as all the supplements go. But that's a different story. I'm going to take 1 month off total. And I'm going to prepare for this. And like I said, I think it's the longest I've ever taken off since I've been on my microdosing journey for 4.5 years now. And am I a little bit scared? Am I a little bit worried? Yeah, a little bit, because I don't have any kind of backup. No backup. And, of course, alcohol is legal in Japan, but I don't like alcohol. I'll drink a tiny bit socially while I'm there, but not for therapeutic reasons, not for medical reasons whatsoever. Alcohol is not good for medical reasons. There's nothing good about it. So I guess my concern is if I start feeling some anxiety creeping in or something like that, I'm going to have to roll with it. And I'm learning some new breathing exercise because, again, breathing is great. And it's last time I checked, breathing in Japan is totally legal. And I've actually been practicing some breathing exercises, such as the famous 4-4-6-2. So what that means is you breathe in a nice deep in-breath for 4 seconds, stop for 4 seconds and pause, then breathe out for 6 seconds, 4-4-6-2, and then 2 seconds go by between that and your next round. So it's in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 6 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, and then start it again. And I've already been practicing that. And they say that it really does get your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calm, it's the relaxed the relaxed part of the autonomic nervous system, not the sympathetic, which is, again, that's the fight or flight. That's when you're revved up and your blood is circulating to your muscles, and a lot of systems they don't shut down, but they temporarily pause. So you can have the strength, mental and physical strength to run, to attack, to fight, whatever you need to do to get out of a really tough situation. But if our bodies are in that fight or flight mode, which is sympathetic mode of the autonomic nervous system, that's not a good thing, and that will absolutely rip your body apart if it stays in that mode for too long. And before I started microdosing, that's one of the problems I had. Because of my bad sleep, because of other things that were going on in my life, my body was staying in the sympathetic mode way too long, and it was tearing down parts of my body that were not good at all. So when I'm in Japan, I'm prepared. And like I said, I'm going to be there for a month. I'm prepared to do these daily breathing exercises if and when, and I probably should even do it proactively, even if I'm feeling great, because breathing exercises are always good. And wouldn't that be cool if I found out that after 4.5 years of microdosing, that part of my journey could be done, and I just now use breathing exercises to continue it? I'm always a fan of learning, improving myself, getting better. And the 4.5 years has led me to just unbelievable things in my life that I never would have thought. I've told you about this. I started off because I wanted to take care of my anxiety and depression and some PTSD. But over the 4.5 years, it's led me to learn about so many more things about my life and my body. So it's a great thing. So I'm definitely continuing. And when I get back, I'll let you know. When I get back to the US, I'll let you know whether I'm going to get back into the microdosing. There's a very good chance I will, because I feel like it's almost part of me that has to do this for this, to teach you all what's going on and to help you. But not necessarily, even though I've got a lot of experience under my belt now, I could move on to just simply breathing exercises and do that for a while and see what happens. So anyway, I'm excited, but a little bit nervous that in no way will I have anything with me whatsoever. So no backup, nothing to fall back on if I feel I need it. I'm going to go with the flow and see what happens. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. Now, what I might also decide to do is take a little bit of a larger dose, a day or two before I go, which would be today or tomorrow. That's like my last chance, a little bit of a larger dose. I'll do it in an area where it's legal or decriminalized. Don't worry. That's always the safest thing to do. If I do it. And if I do, I'll report back to you for sure. But that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm pretty excited. Although going out of the country, for 4 weeks is definitely, a little bit anxiety ridden to begin with. Let's face it, leaving your home, leaving, your normal routine, what you do all the time, and going someplace to a foreign land where I'm learning the language, but I don't speak it really fluently right now. And there's some anxiety involved. So I'm going to be dealing with some stuff, and I'll definitely share it with you. When I'm there, I'm going to be podcasting from there. Trust me, you're not going to miss an episode, or I'm not going to miss an episode. So don't worry. A new episode comes out every Wednesday. And if I have to throw an extra episode in there when I'm in Japan just to share with you or do a live stream or something, I'll do it, because I want to share my experience with you and let you know how it's going. So that's that as far as quitting microdosing for at least the 4 weeks while I'm there, and let's see how that goes. Now, I've got some really good questions that I've held on to that people have sent into. They send them either by email, YouTube, sometimes Messenger on Facebook. I get them all different kinds of ways. So I'm going to be reading these questions and giving you my best possible answer. Real quickly, before I do, if you're not familiar with what I've got going now, I've got to share this with you. Our Patreon group has gotten to be so cool. Now, Patreon is a little bit of it's a side group apart from this free podcast and the free stuff that I do here. And believe me, I put my heart and soul into every episode that I do here. So if you're joining me here, you're getting great content with my energy and love and, sharing and trusting for sure. However, about 1.5 years ago, I started this Patreon group, this Patreon platform, and it's called Microdose U on Patreon. And it's a paid platform. It's $12.50 a month. Some people are so into it, they pay a year in advance just to get into this thing, which is always appreciated and always helps. But it's become a family. It's become a group of people that we share things amongst each other that we just really don't share anywhere else. And I'm able to also, and we're able to answer questions in this Patreon group that we just can't answer anywhere else, because, it's very, how can I say this, sensitive material about talking about plant medicine in many places where it's illegal. And so I have to be very careful what I say. I have to be very, very careful to protect the people that, that we sometimes, some of my followers get this medicine from. I want to be very protective of everyone. So we don't really discuss sourcing on this podcast. But yes, since Patreon is a private group paid platform, we will discuss things like that and a lot more. And there's just so much love coming from this Patreon family now. It's just incredible. The details and the link are in the show. The link is in the show notes and on my website, microdoseu.com. And also, I've got to say this again. I say this all the time, but we're not looking for people to come in for a very short amount of time, like just pay for 1 month and then grab information and get out of there. We're not looking for that. We're looking for people that want to stay with our close-knit, loving family and be part of this thing. So again, if you're thinking about coming in for a month and just leaving after you pay your dues for 1 month, I love you. I love you a lot. But that's really not what we're looking for there. So again, link is in the show notes and on my website, microdoseu.com. And also, I just want to bring up that if you are new to this, or even if you're not new, but you want just some personalized one-on-one coaching, we do offer that. We've been quite successful with this. And again, all the links are on the show notes, in the show notes and on the website. Let's get right into these questions now. First question comes from Amanda R. in Portland. She didn't say Portland, Maine or Portland, Oregon, so I can't guess, but somewhere in Portland. She asks, how do people usually decide what their starting dose should be? Yeah, good question. The good thing about this medicine is, and we're talking about psilocybin, magic mushrooms. The good thing about this is it's not like you're taking a pharmaceutical where you have to be pretty strict with your dosage. You can experiment with almost anything, and there's no right or no wrong. When I first started and I was sharing this information with you on the podcast, I'd say, you need to start with 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams. But no, start with, the microdosing range is anywhere from 50 milligrams, which is 0.05 grams. So 50 milligrams upwards of microdose is still about 300 milligrams. So anywhere in that range, 50 to 300 milligrams is a microdose. I recommend you start on the low side, but you don't have to. If you want to just dive deep into this and go crazy, there's nothing wrong with starting with 200 or 250 milligrams. It's not wrong. Be careful, but and there's not a lot to be careful with because it's still all sub-perceptual or semi-perceptual, I should say, semi-perceptual. You'll notice a little bit of a difference, but you won't be going into any kind of psychedelic trip or you won't be high or anything like that. So again, there's no right or wrong. If somebody pressed me and said, Dr. Dave, what's your ideal starting dose? What's your best starting dose? I would say probably 100 to 150 milligrams. Just seems like the right starting dose to me. But again, your mileage may vary. Do whatever you want. Next question from Mindful Mark on YouTube. What are some of the most common benefits people report after microdosing for a while? Well, the most common reason people start is for mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, and even more than that. But that's by far the most common reason people start, including myself. However, as I got into the journey, I started noticing that it was helping me with so many different things: my medical health, my athletics, spirituality, my work, relationships, being kind. So many things this microdosing has helped me with, and I'd say transformed me into a different and better person. I mean, I'm still the same. I'm still David Maddow. I'm still the same person. However, I think somebody that's hanging with me now would say there's probably a kinder, more loving, more understanding David Maddow than there was, I don't know, 10 years ago. I'm not sure, but it just helps with so many things, Mark. So again, enjoy the journey. Don't press it too hard. Don't say I'm doing this because it has to change this overnight. It's not going to change anything overnight, but over time, you're going to see so many things improve in your life. From James in Austin, is microdosing safe, and are there any side effects or risks that people should know about? It's really interesting. Growing up, I thought psychedelics were some of the most dangerous drugs out there. We were all afraid of them. You do them, you're going to go into a mental institution, you're going to go crazy. Oh, but no, it's far, far from the truth. They're actually very, very safe. They're not toxic. You can't overdose on them. Oh, you could take a lot and really go on a wild psychedelic ride, but it's not going to be dangerous as far as, you take too many opioids, and I'm not a fan of opioids unless it's absolutely medically necessary. I don't go near them. I don't go near anything else really. But some of these drugs out there, cocaine or whatever they might be, you take too much and you're dead. You're dead. You're going to die. No, it's not so with psychedelics. They're very, very, very safe, and they're also not addictive. You know, they might help you a lot in your life and in your health and mental and physical, but you're not going to become addicted. Nothing's addictive. That's why when I go to Japan, I'm going to be taken off for a month and see what happens. But I'm not going to be like having some kind of withdrawal or craving. No, no. If anything, I'll say I wish I had them because I feel a little anxious today. But that's it. Nothing more than that. So I think I answered that question. Are there any side effects? Side effects. Some people report that it can upset their stomach, their GI. It can dehydrate a little bit, so you need to make sure you drink enough water and hydrate. But there are no real side effects that I know of. But everybody is different. I mean, yeah, some people report some anxiety on very, very, very low microdoses. But we always say if you feel anxious after a low microdose, take a higher microdose, and that almost always takes care of that problem. Great question there, and these are really good. I love getting back to the basics sometimes. From Sacred Roots 22, how long does it take before someone starts noticing changes or results from microdosing? Everybody's different. I was pretty quick, but some people, it takes longer. But what I want to say is don't really worry so much about the time, but just have intention. Don't deviate from your path. Do it, and the results will come. Some people quicker than others, but if you just give up too quickly and then move on to the next thing, I have a feeling nothing's going to work. So, these days, again, I say this a lot, but these days, people want overnight quick fixes. People on TikTok are talking about, oh, you do this and your life will change like in 3 seconds. No, this doesn't, I don't want to give anybody any kind of false hope. It doesn't work like that, but it does work. But just be intentional and believe that it's going to work as it will, and you'll see some really, really nice changes. I'm as I said, I'm 4.5 years into this, and I'm still seeing new benefits all the time. Tina M from Toronto. What's the best schedule or routine for microdosing? Do you need to take days off? Yeah, again, I would say the best, just roughly 3 to 4 to 5 days on, meaning you dose on 3 to 4 or 5 days in a row. And then you take maybe 2 days off, maybe 3 days, 2 to 3 days off. Again, I used to be more regimented about this. You need to do this, you need to do that. But no, it's not like that. You can actually start to do it more by feel. I mean, it's a good idea to take days off so you won't develop tolerance. And yes, you can even develop some tolerance, although some people argue that a little bit, and I'm not 100% positive, but you can develop some tolerance through microdosing. So, that's why I recommend usually, a few days on, 3, 4, 5 days on in a row. You could do more if you want, but just then take a couple days off and then rinse and repeat. Great question there from Tina. Ben asks, a friend told me I need to stop my Lexapro, which, by the way, if those of you that are not exactly sure what Lexapro is, it's an antidepressant. It's an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So it's a typical pharmaceutical that people get prescribed for depression and also anxiety. They told me I need to stop my Lexapro before starting microdosing. Is this true? No, it's actually not true, Ben. It's not true. And if we don't recommend stopping any pharmaceutical start your microdosing, dial it in, tweak it, titrate it, make sure it's going well. Then at a certain point, then and only then you can start to slowly wean off of your Lexapro or whatever type of SSR you might be on. And by the way, I really do recommend telling your doctor that you are going to be microdosing. Again, I think I talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but don't hold anything back from your doctor. If your doctor fires you or says, no, you can't do that, then find another doctor because their doctor's not open-minded enough. It's hard to believe that any mental health doctors these days would tell you not to do it. It's hard to believe because it's beginning to be so accepted and it's changing so many lives. If I went to a doctor and they said, no, you can't do that, I would say, well, I'd say kindly, I'm finding another doctor. That's what I would do. But anyway, check with your doctor about the Lexapro, but slowly wean off. And I've done episodes on how to do this. And again, nothing here is medical advice. I just want to make sure that's very, very clear. At Trippy Traveler asks, what's the difference between microdosing psilocybin and microdosing LSD? And how do you know which one is right for you? Great question. I actually love microdosing LSD. But I would recommend for a beginner to start with magic mushrooms or psilocybin. I recommend starting with psilocybin. It's probably easier to work with, I would say. When you're dealing with LSD, you're talking in terms of micrograms. So you make a little mistake and, you could be taking way too much more than you bargained for. I'm a big fan of it. Don't get me wrong. But for a true beginner, I would say start with psilocybin and see how that goes. And then you can always change to LSD or add some LSD into your regimen. But I would start with psilocybin. The effects or the difference between them, subtle. These days I probably like the feeling of microdosing LSD even more than mushrooms. But they're both very, very good, very acceptable. But I'm starting to really. Microdosing LSD just feels a little, like a little dreamier, trippier, if that's the right. But you're not going on a psychedelic trip microdosing, but it just feels like you're maybe floating a little bit more, if that makes any sense. I hope that does. Next question, Lisa H. from Baltimore. My hometown. I don't live there anymore, but I lived there most of my life. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah now. But hi, Lisa from Baltimore. I wonder if I know you. I'm not sure. How can someone tell if their microdosing protocol is actually working or if they need to adjust it? You'll know. I think you'll know. Follow the energy. Again, after microdosing for a week or two, don't say this is working or this is not working. Just go with the flow, keep it going, and it will work. Believe in it. And I don't mean to say like believe in it like a placebo. No, I don't mean that. But it will work. So, if you're taking it for quite some time and you feel like it's made no dent on your anxiety or depression, then it's time to probably increase your dose. But it will work. But you should start feeling subtle changes, maybe almost immediately. Subtle changes, very subtle. You're not going to be a different person in 24 hours. But you will be a different person for the better in a few years, possibly. I thought I was a different person maybe after a few months. So again, but it just it builds and gets better and better and better. I hope that helps. There's not a real objective answer. It's all subjective. It's how you feel. And I guess my best answer is, Lisa from Baltimore, you will know. You will definitely know. Trust me, you'll know. These are great questions. I invite you to keep the questions coming. And remember, I do have a brand new episode every Wednesday. I think I said that a little bit earlier. Please make sure you check the show notes and all the links and my website, microdoseu.com. And next Wednesday, brand new episode. But I'm going to try to do something in between, if I can, from Japan. We'll see. But until then, remember, you've got a place to be. You've got So many people these days they just need like even a virtual hug, somebody to hold their hand, give them a hug, say you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. And you found that place here. You found a loving, loving community, and please don't go anywhere because your life is going to get better and better and better. I'm going to see to it that it does. I promise you. Until next episode, I am Dr. Dave. I do love you. This is Microdose U.